All right, folks. Week 10 of the National Football League. We are live. World of matchups. I am Dexter Reed, your host, week in and week out, bringing the heat, breaking down every single game on the slate. On the other side of the glass, my producer, A1 from day one, co-founder of World of Matchups, and good friend, Mr. Spencer the Wiz. Spencer, what's going on this week, bro?
Well, as a Raiders fan, I have a lot to say when we get to that Sunday night game. But just as every Raiders season is, it's up and down. And this week, I just so happen to be up.
I kind of feel like World of Matchups has been the Raiders this year. Like 1 week we're up, the next week we're down, the next week we're down worse, then we're back up again. Like we just haven't been able to find any consistency this year. I think a lot of it has to do with these injuries, man. The injuries have been absolutely brutal and have made huge differences in a lot of these games, man. And we're going to talk about a lot of that. So let's get started here with going over the pond. We're back in Frankfurt, Germany. We have the Indianapolis Colts. They're headed to take on the New England Patriots. Colts are -2 in this game. I took the Patriots last week on a whim, thinking that they might be able to, bring something in the way of pride in their building versus a bad team, and they looked even worse than I could have ever imagined. I mean, the Commanders aren't good, and Sam Howell carved them up, looked like Brett Favre. It was an absolutely disgusting game. I can't see a reason to take the Patriots here on a neutral field if they can't win in their own building. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster is coming on. Demario Douglas is okay, but the Colts have a pretty good defense. That's the one strong thing they have going for them, and I know Gardner Minshew's no world beater, but they didn't pay Jonathan Taylor all these millions to not get the ball. And you're starting to see him really come on and look like the Jonathan Taylor of old. Special teams are good. The back end is good. I see Mac Jones having a really rough day here because Mac Jones stinks. The offensive line has not given him any help. And the running game, while Ramondre Stevenson has been coming on, he's going to face a decent front here. -2 is an easy pick for me here with the Colts. Field goal wins it. I like the Colts here in Frankfurt to end these overseas games. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that last week, that's just so bad. I mean, after Washington guts their team, I doubt the locker room was too happy about that. Two really talented players on the bookends there, and yeah, they still lost that game. I still just don't understand it. You're at home. It should just be a game that you just go ahead and win, but they weren't able to do it. And I can't take the Patriots in good faith, ever until I see them win a game again. And, while the competition is about the same level as the Commanders, I also just think that, the Colts are a pretty decent team. I think Gardner Minshew is enough to just ride the wave, and the Patriots are just terrible.
They're horrible, man.
They should be 3-6 right now, but they're not. And I just don't think it's going to get any better for them anytime soon. And I think they could just start shutting it down soon and start going for one of those top overall quarterbacks for the Patriots. So I'm going to take the Colts here.
Hot take. Bill Belichick does not survive the season. It's not out of the realm of possibility, folks. This is not that hot of a take when you really think about what Robert Kraft's expectations are for this franchise after winning for so long consistently. And while Bill Belichick is really revered as one of the top NFL coaches of all time, is he really? I mean, yes, he's a master game planner, but he's a horrible drafter. And you're starting to see that, man, Tom Brady made him more than he made Tom Brady. I mean, Brady left and got a ring. I mean, this is really bad. It's not kind of bad. It's really bad. And so if they lose this week in egregious fashion, that's going to be a long plane ride home for the Patriots and Bill Belichick. I could see him getting fired before Christmas. Next, the Green Bay Packers. They head to the Steel City to take on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is home, and they are -3.5. I'm going to tell you, going in the door, I don't know how Pittsburgh wins these games. They are the only team in the NFL that has been outscored. They've been outgained, and they have a winning record. They do this with smoke and mirrors. I think right now, honestly, Mike Tomlin has to be up for Coach of the Year. He has done more with less than any other head coach in the National Football League. And I was calling for him to be fired a couple of years ago, but he has shown me why he is still a prominent head coach in this league, because Kenny Pickett stinks. Najee Harris is slow as molasses, and they don't give George Pickens the ball. And they have a winning record. In comes the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love, who absolutely stinks. Jair Alexander is on the other side of doubtful. This is going to be my best bet somehow. I don't know how, but I think the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is going to score in this game somehow. I think Jordan Love's going to have a rough day. I'm taking the Steel City at home. Jalen Warren and Najee Harris should have a good day versus a run defense that's given up double-digit touchdowns on the ground this year. I don't see this really being a problem. George Pickens has been complaining about not getting the ball. The squeaky wheel gets the grease here. They still have really strong home field advantage in Pittsburgh. Dude, Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers stink. They stink, man. I know Aaron Jones has been coming on, but he hasn't faced a decent defense since he's been healthy. The Rams stink. I don't want to hear nothing about that. That's a one-man show with Aaron Donald. You're facing the steel curtain. Now, I know Minkah Fitzpatrick is still out, but they don't throw the ball in Green Bay. They really don't. And a lot of people are going to want to take the Packers here because they're coming off a decent win where Jordan Love did look good for the first half of that game. I just can't do it, man. I think the smoke and mirrors continues. I really do. Don't ask me how. It just does. They have these ancillary players in Pittsburgh, Calvin Austin III, who haven't done much. I could see this guy getting a run back, a return. Something crazy is going to happen, and they're going to cover this 3.5. I cannot take Green Bay anywhere on any given day of the week because they just stink running the football. They stink stopping the run, and their best cover corner is out. Take Pittsburgh, lay the 3.5, and do it with confidence.
Yeah, let's not forget that this same Green Bay team lost to Jimmy Garoppolo, who has looked definitively like the worst quarterback in the NFL this year. So I agree with you full-heartedly. I think that the Steelers' defense carries them to victories, and this is just one of those games where they're going to be able to do that. And I have really no doubts. The Steelers are at home, which is also just a major factor here. Jordan Love does not move the needle for me at all, and this is going to be his hardest test. And he looked bad against the Raiders, who, to their respect, at points have looked like a top 15 defense. But now we're getting closer into the top 5 with the Steelers. So, yeah, I don't think 3.5 is enough. I'm going to take the Steelers.
Yeah, I just don't see this. I see this as being a slam dunk. The Steelers' defense is always good. When has the Steelers' defense not been good? As long as I've been alive, they've always been good. Our offense is mid, but their defense will do enough to keep this game more than in hand, and they should win and cover going away. Next, who dat? Saints are heading to the Minnesota Vikings, who are surging right now. Somehow the Saints are -3, and I just don't see it, man. I tell you what, is there a better story in the National Football League than Josh Dobbs right now? I'll wait. I'll wait. This guy is the Black Kurt Warner. I'm telling you, he's come out of nowhere. No one knew who this guy was. They didn't even have his jersey in Arizona. They promised him they wouldn't trade him. Then what did they do? They get rid of him. What does he do? He goes to Minnesota. That third-string quarterback, Jalen, whatever his name is, he gets concussed. He's out of the game. Boom. And there's your shot again, kid. I mean, it's like, it's enough to get one shot, and then you get another shot. And what does this guy do? He makes the most of it. When you go look at this guy's fantasy numbers, there's only 9 other quarterbacks that are better than Joshua Dobbs in fantasy. Now, I know this is real life, but what he did on Sunday, I watched the whole fourth quarter of that game, was absolutely magical. It was magical. That was hero ball personified. And I think he does it again. I mean, folks, let's be honest here. We have to stop acting like the Minnesota Vikings aren't on a 4-game win streak in their building at home versus a team who plays well at home and not great on the road unless they're playing the Patriots. Michael Thomas gets arrested last night. Dissension personified. Derek Carr is going to have his timely interception like we all know he will. And I see the Minnesota Vikings winning this game outright. And you're going to give me 3 points? Madison has played better. I know Hawkinson's kind of banged up with the ribs, but he's a warrior. He'll be out there. Dude, they're surging right now, and they're getting ready to activate Jay Jettas. Let them win this game. They could make the playoffs. This is a team that was 1-4. 1-4. And they are surging right now at home. versus a team that's known for defense, if they can just hold Kamara down, hold Olave down, I see them winning this game, going away on a Greg Joseph 55-yard field goal to win in OT. Take the Vikings with confidence. Purple people eaters all day. I have no faith in Derek Carr on the road. Ever.
I don't know. This feels like a trap game to me. I feel like every single thing is like pointing towards the Vikings right now, and I just think there's going to be a lot of money on them. So whenever I've had games like this, I do typically like go, with the flow, but for some reason, something in my gut is telling me that, the Joshua Dobbs story is going to, come to earth at least a little bit in this game. The Saints defense is legitimate, and it's the reason they're 5-4. If it was just like an average defense and Derek Carr played the way that he did, this is probably a 3-win football team at this current moment, but that's not the reality of the situation. They have a really stout defense, and for a guy who's only in, week 1.5 in the Vikings offense right now, I can't imagine he's still learning all of his teammates' names. Like, I can't imagine that that's not going to play a huge factor. And fortunately for Derek Carr, his receivers just some sort of there's something about him. Like, what, every single one of his receivers have like mental breakdowns on his team. It's just a very weird coincidence. It has to be a coincidence. I don't think he makes anyone go insane, but I know that's a big distraction. But I don't know. I mean, Michael Thomas has had a few good catches here and there, but I wouldn't say he's been like a huge staple for them at every point of the season. He's just okay at this point, and I think that they're going to be fine at other, wide receiver positions to kind of push through. It's not like it's a distraction to the level of Henry Ruggs, right? Like, he just this guy seemed like he was harassing Michael Thomas, and then Michael Thomas just took it way too far, is what it seems like to me. And I guess I don't know the full story. That's just from what I've read. That was my impression. So I'm going to take the Saints here, and I just think that there's something funny about this because a lot of people are going to love the Vikings this week.
Home dogs pay dividends. Joshua Dobbs is going to be running all over the field. It's just going to be a continuation of the fourth quarter of last week versus Atlanta. You heard it here first. Next, this is a tricky one. Houston Texans, they fly to Cincinnati, who is surging right now, man. Joe Burrow looks as good as anyone in the National Football League. They are home. They are -6.5, but there's a lot of different working pieces here. On the Houston side of the ball, Dameon Pierce is out. They're, Singletary is going to be running the rock for them. 5'7", 140-something pounds. This kid's Mighty Mouse personified. They're not going to be able to run the ball. They haven't been able to run the ball. They haven't run the ball all season. That's why you see C.J. Stroud throwing for 6,000 yards. Now, is he going to be able to replicate that again? I love C.J. Stroud. These are well-known, documented facts all over the podcast for the last year and a half. However, I think they're running into a buzzsaw here. Cincinnati, their defense plays better at home. Much, much better. Now, Nico Collins is out. O-U-T, out. That means Tank Dell has to step up. That means Dalton Schultz has to step up. You don't think those DBs watch that tape of how they carved up the Tampa Bay secondary? They're going to be ready. Now, this is where it gets tricky because Jamar Chase is more hurt than they're letting on. He's got a back issue. They're keeping this hush-hush. His comments to the press this week, maybe I can go. I got to be out there for my guys. I got to be a warrior. That sounds on the other side of questionable to me. If they run him out there and get him hurt worse, there goes their playoff chances. So he's a GTD. Okay, he's very, very, very questionable. T. Higgins, out. O-U-T. Dude, what's happening right now? You know what I mean? Like, major pieces on both sides of the ball are out. I really want to take Houston here plus a 6.5. I really, really do. But I have a funny feeling, ladies and gentlemen, and this happens every single year, maybe once or twice, where it's just the Joe Mixon show, where Joe Mixon goes nuts and has 5 touchdowns. He's not great, but he'll have that great game that will keep you thinking, wow, he's still great. He's really not. He's very mid. But they're not going to have a choice here but to run the football here. So they're going to give him the Le'Veon Bell treatment, especially if both of those wideouts are out. Houston shot their load last week. That's a huge win. I don't think they can do it again. Cincinnati's defense is very slept on in their building. I'm going to go out on a limb and lay the 6.5, despite whatever happens during game time, before leading up to game time. I don't care who's in. I don't care who's out. My normal inclination here the losing Dexter would take the Houston plus 6.5, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to throw my balls on the table with the Cincinnati Bengals. They continue their streak of winning. They continue staying hot despite what happens with any of these players who are on the other side of questionable.
This is going to be a great game, and I mean, you just have to tip your hat off to what C.J. Stroud did last week. I mean, 5 touchdowns.
I've been telling you, bro.
Take him down the field with like 50 seconds left I mean, it's just unreal. I just could not believe that game last week. It reminded me.
The Carolina Panthers would take him again in a second if they could. That is the biggest mistake Frank Reich has made in his life.
I never really even liked Frank Reich. I don't really understand why he was given the keys.
I never liked. They took Bryce Young because the world told them they needed to. Instead of looking at the facts, they listened to the world. And look at them now. Bryce Young stinks. He got outplayed by Tyson Bagent, who was delivering my newspaper last week.
It was crazy. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm gonna stick it with you. I just think after like a really emotional win, you kind of feel like you have a lot of confidence going to that game, and I don't know. I think they're going to hit a brick wall. I think the Bengals are firing on all cylinders on a different way, right? Like Houston has played some really good games recently, but it's like kind of been heart, like all heart, and the Bengals are past the stage when they need to win games by heart. They did do that in the very beginning with Joe Burrow, but now they're like, I don't know, like a professional football team. I can't explain it, or it's like it's business per usual for them every week, and those are the kinds of teams that you have confidence going into the playoffs. And every young team, I think, needs a little dose of reality. And I think the Texans, as they should, believe that they can win this game. But I think they're going to see, what a developed football team looks like. But, I mean, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't be the shock of the world if, the Texans kept this close. And it wouldn't even be the craziest thing ever to see them win this game somehow. But, just with everything that I've said, and I've kind of talked myself into it, I think the Bengals really can, take care of business at home and get that touchdown lead that they need to win this game.
Joe Mixon runs wild, folks. Whatever his overs are, lay it all. Next, black and blue division's finest, the Cleveland Browns. They head to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Ravens minus 6.5 in their building. Right now, to me, the Ravens are the best team in the league. I don't care what anyone says. Right now, on a neutral field, there's no one the Ravens can't beat. Lamar has earned his money. I have to take my hat off to him because I don't really love Lamar, but they're playing inspired football. They have a mash unit of guys back in the backfield who can run the ball at any rate you need them to. Lamar can run. He's throwing just enough to win. They're doing everything they need to do with their ancillary pieces. When Odell Beckham Jr. is getting involved, man, things are firing well. The defense is playing well. I like the Ravens a lot. They're going to go to the playoffs, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep up with teams that can really score. That being said, I'm still taking the Browns plus the 6.5 here. This is the black and blue division. Go look at the last 10 games these guys have played. They're closer than people like to let on. Somehow the Browns have stayed in this thing, man. And now you got Deshaun Watson back. If you get the good Deshaun Watson, who can actually get the ball to Amari Cooper, who can get the ball to David Njoku, this is going to be a 3-point win. I could see them kicking a Justin Tucker field goal to win this. This is going to be a very aggressive, physical game. I don't see a whole lot of finesse plays happening here unless Lamar breaks free. I think that if you can run the ball enough with Cleveland here, you're going to stay in this game. Look, when you consider the job that Kevin Stefanski has had to do when you lose Nick Chubb to keep this team afloat with Deshaun Watson in the game, out of the game, the PJ Walkers, the emotional win at home versus a very good Niner team, he also must be in the freaking ranks right now for Coach of the Year. And so I'm going to ride with the Browns here. They're one of those teams that I think they play better on the road. They took Seattle to the last play of the game. They should have won that game. And I think that the Ravens have been blowing enough teams out, and they're due for a stinker. And I think it happens tomorrow. Take the 6.5. Go, Brownies, go.
I don't know. I disagree with you. I think Deshaun Watson is just a steaming pile of garbage. And I think he's going to show that on Sunday. I mean, he's had some of the worst throws I think I've ever seen in my life this year multiple times. I mean, just like baffling mistakes, and I just don't think you can make those. Now, it is a division game, so it always has a little bit of juice into it, really, and especially in the AFC North. But this defense for the Ravens is firing on all cylinders, and the Browns are too, but I don't even know if it's to the level of what the Ravens are doing. Now, I don't expect them to blow every team out by 30 points every week, but I think Deshaun Watson makes enough mistakes in this game to where this is a 10, 14-point game when it's all said and done. I could see the Cleveland offense just stalling out multiple times, and the Ravens, while they may not score 30 points, I think I could easily see like a 24 to like 13 type of situation where, the Browns are like fighting for a garbage touchdown at the end of this game and they just don't get it. So yeah, I'm going to take the Ravens here at home.
Sounds good. Next, my best bet of the week, believe it or not, man, because I never thought I would attach the words best bet to the Tennessee Titans, but this is my best bet of the week, and I love them so much this week. Oh, my goodness. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have proven to me time and time again, week after week, at home on World of Matchups, that I don't care who's on the other side of that field, they are not worth taking. If they're laying points, if they are getting points, it don't matter to me, and I'm sticking with what I said. I love the job that Will Levis has done so far. While I don't like Will Levis at all, he has shown me something, okay? Tennessee knows what they have in him because Ryan Tannehill's career is over. Dude, clean your locker out, son. It's over, okay? That's all they needed was your high ankle injury to put this kid in the game and to see that he's got a big arm, that he can run if you need to. He's hard to bring down. He looked I saw some Big Ben in him. I saw some Big Ben in this guy, that's quality praise for a rookie starting his third game now, all right? Look, we need to talk about the secondary of the Tampon Bay Buccaneers. They got absolutely eviscerated by C.J. Stroud. Look, is Jamel Dean any good? Is Carlton Davis any good? Because we were all told that they were good when Tom Brady was there. And I remember one game in particular where Tyreek Hill had 185 yards after the first quarter at 3 touchdowns. They're not good. They never were good. Tom Brady was good. And so they looked good. And you saw it last week how they just absolutely got carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey. What does Will Levis do best? He throws deep. D-Hop is healthy. You know what I mean? I know Treylon Burks is out, but Nick Westbrook-Akine will be fine. Chiggy Okonkwo's a thing now. And then you have Derrick Henry, man. You have Derrick Henry. I've never seen a team lay down at home like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do. I just don't see a way that they win this game. Tennessee's defense is somewhat decent. I know they traded away a big piece, but 1.5? I'll take that 1.5, man. They shouldn't be laying points to anyone after getting absolutely eviscerated last week. Give me a break. Now, I know that Coach Todd Bowles is pretty much playing for his job, and Devin White is good. They still have some decent players, but don't think for a second that Rachaad White is doing that again, what he did last week. All right, that was the Texans. Rachaad White's not going to have another game like that week versus that front. They have a good front four in Tennessee. I love Tennessee this week, man. I'm putting my own money on Tennessee this week. 1.5 all day, every day, twice on Sunday. Go to Sizzler, buy a Sizzler. Like, I don't know why, and I can't stand the Titans, but I love them this week. Go Will Levis, go.
Yeah, man, this kid's playing real solid, and
he's a franchise quarterback. I don't like him, but he's a franchise quarterback.
On draft day, I mean, no one really wanted him, as you could see, and that was like a long thing for him. But, to his credit, and you know what I do think about this sometimes is that maybe that's what he needed. You know what I mean? Like, maybe
pie.
If he was drafted in the top 5, maybe he wouldn't be playing like this right now. So I think every player, and I also think about that when players leave teams and they play well in other ones, like, oh, we always should have kept that guy. But, like, you never know. Maybe that guy needed to be cut from the team or traded to, like, get that inner latent ability. It's not. Every player can't work on every team. It's not just about skill in the NFL. It's so much more than that. And I think that's what you're seeing. And, having a guy like DeAndre Hopkins in your rookie season isn't a bad thing either, of course. It's always nice to have like a security blanket. So Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. I think this is when it really starts to settle in. There's 2 games of tape on, Will Levis now, but yeah, he stood up to a decent, a very good Steelers defense, I should say. So had plenty of impressive throws, and I do think it's going to be enough. All you're asking me is to win a field goal for the Tennessee Titans. Both of these teams are 3-5, so their seasons are, pretty much on the line at this point. So it's not like there's a desperation factor where I give the lead to one more than the other one. They're both playing for their seasons because 3-6 you can't come back from. At least you'd have to have a crazy run, and none of these teams are going to have a crazy run to that level. So you're going to have to get closer to 500 to even, entertain the playoffs. So I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans here. I think overall they're just a better team, and I think the mystery of Will Levis is enough to, steal them by a field goal in this game.
Yeah, I don't think that Tampa is ready for what's coming. I mean, Derrick Henry alone can always take over a game, but now you're giving them a quarterback that can get the ball out so they can't stack the box. Yeah. That's 1.5 right.
Stack the box. That's
you can't stack the box. That's 1.5 right there. I mean, what's wrong with this picture? Real talk, man. Dude, you guys got to understand, man. It's not just about points. It's about X's and O's, man. Simple things like who the coordinator is. Like, these things matter. Stacking the box matters, man. Derrick Henry will break one if a guy is 2 feet further back than he should be. That's a touchdown. You know what I mean? And now you're putting the ball in a big, strong quarterback's hands versus a defense that got cornholed last week. Stop it. I will give Todd Bowles an engraved apology on this show next week if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win this game. That's how I'll start the show. Next. Big game, man. I'm telling you right now, San Francisco 49ers are about to drown. If they don't win this game, they are done. They're -3. They head to Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are they're like the other bipolar team in the AFC. Them and the Bills. You just don't know what you're going to get with Jacksonville. They go to London. They win back-to-back games. They're gone from Florida for 2+ weeks. But then they'll lose at home to Kansas City in egregious fashion, and they'll be inside the 20-yard line 5 times and get 3 points. You just don't know what you're getting. And I'm starting to question whether or not Trevor Lawrence is him. I've been a big Trevor Lawrence truther. I have been. But I'm not sure he's him. The last time I saw the Trevor Lawrence that was him was the Trevor Lawrence that won that playoff game in their building versus a terrible Chargers team where they do 4 touchdowns in the last quarter, some nonsense. Like, he hasn't been right all year. They haven't been. Travis Etienne has saved this team, and now he's going up against a rejuvenated, well-rested defensive front that just added a great piece from Washington. Like, they're going to be ready to win this game. Christian McCaffrey's going to be ready. Debo is back. I know he's not the Debo of old, but Debo is very good. They're going to triple team McCaffrey. Brandon Ayuk is going to eat like it's Thanksgiving. I really think that the Niners are going to – this is a very business-like game for them, okay? No one's wearing, like, gaiters. The guys are showing up wearing army suits and Timbs. This is a business trip for the San Francisco 49ers, and I see them winning this game going away. I just don't trust the Jacksonville Jaguars. Evan Ingram has 0 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley has been a bust. After the first week, everybody thought Calvin Ridley was going to be the second coming of Jerry Rice. The guy has done absolutely nothing all season long. The number 1 receiver on that team is Christian Kirk. Zay Jones is out again. Zay Jones might as well retire. The guy, he's on the shelf more than he plays. All these things, to me, amount to at least a 5 to 7 point win. And you only laying 3, take the Niners with confidence. They're a warm weather team already. They're the stronger team. They're the better team. They've just played poorly. And I think Shanahan gets it dialed up coming off the bye week, and they get back in the hunt here. Take the Niners with confidence.
I couldn't agree more with you. I just think that this is a game where the Jaguars are always up to it. They have these great records, and you just think that they're playing great, and that they're going to start winning these really big games against these good playoff teams, and then they just put up a stinker. And I could just really see that happening. I mean, we'll see with Brock Purdy. He's been a little shaky recently, but, a bye week can do a lot, especially for a great coach. You know what I mean? If you're a bad team, you got a bye week. I mean, it's good for your health, but good coaches take advantage of great bye weeks and put together a really good performance. And I don't think their bye week could have come at a better time for them, to be honest with you. So the timing worked out great for them. They need to get back into the hunt. They need to start putting some wins together. And this is just a great matchup for a post-bye week. It's not a terrible team. It's not going to be a gimme. It's not against one of the best teams in the league. I mean, the Jaguars are up there, but I wouldn't put them in the top 5 or something like that. It's not like the 49ers are playing the Chiefs coming out of the bye week. This is a quality opponent, which is everything I think they could ever ask for. And I think this is a get-right game for the 49ers. And I think their defense plays great. Chase Young probably has a really timely, sack here or there to stop a drive. And I think it's going to be a real good game for him. So I agree with you. I'm going to take the 49ers.
Guys, don't count the 49ers out yet, man.
No.
Three game L's happen.
It's not how you start, man. It's how you finish.
How you finish. Thank you very much, Spencer, the voice of reason. Ladies and gentlemen, Spencer the Wiz. Next, the Detroit Lions. Oh, another favorite of mine this week. They fly to L.A. to take on the fraudulent Chargers. The Lions are -3. I'm going to tell you going in the door here. The Lions are coming off a bye week, right? I believe they are. I think they are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
They're coming off their
the
bye.
Raiders
So that's number 1. Okay. Number 2, don't get gassed because the Jets that I say never laid down versus the Chargers. I'm mad at the Jets, but we're going to get to them soon. Okay. The Chargers are not good. Their defense is hot dog water. I'm sorry. They're not good. Justin Herbert is one bad landing on that finger away from being on IR. They're not good, guys. I know they looked good versus the Jets, but the Jets jetted. Okay? That's what happened. Zach Wilson stinks. He stinks. So he'll make me look like the best player in the NFL. Now you're coming home to SoFi, which is no real home field advantage, versus a team coming off a bye who, in my estimation, wouldn't shock me. It's a hot take, but it wouldn't shock me to see them win the NFC. I think anywhere, any day, if the Lions are 100% healthy, there's no team in the NFC they can't beat. I will go that far. They are getting mandatory Montgomery back. Jahmyr Gibbs is now hot and in the mix. So you got the two-headed monster playing together, healthy, surging for the first time all season. Sam Laporta is very good. He will be the best tight end on the field on Sunday. Jared Goff is very good if his run game is working. You have not seen a blow-up game yet from the Sun God. Amon-Ra St. Brown is waiting. It's coming. That Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, 3-touchdown type game. It's coming, folks. And I can't see a better week for it to come than this week versus just a trash secondary. They think they're good. They're not good. That secondary is not good in L.A. And when you have all these things going for you, and then you've got a defense that's decent, man. They're more than defense. More than decent. They're rejuvenated. I'm telling you, if C.J. Gardner-Johnson never would have gotten hurt, man, this team could easily go to Super Bowl in my mind. I think they're that good. They have a coach that's willing to take chances. They play physical football. This is a fool's gold team you're seeing here in L.A. What are they, 3-4? 4-4? I mean, they're not great. I mean, I like Justin Herbert, but I like Austin Eckler, but that's about it, man. They're going to double Keenan Allen. Who else is going to do anything for them? Their tight ends are mid. Josh Palmer is out. Quentin Johnson's a rookie. You guys will get gassed here if you take them at home as home dogs. I'm telling you, don't let the Monday night game versus the Jets fool you into thinking that they have a shot at beating the Lions here. I think the Lions beat this team to death, honestly, and I'm taking them with confidence. They're going to be my other best bet. 3 ain't enough. If Jared Goff stays upright in this game, this is a 7 to 10 point win. I have spoken.
Man, I can't get a read on this game. I don't know. I feel like the Chargers are kind of.
The Lions are better than people think.
They are very good. I think the Chargers are playing, pretty good football as of recent after starting out terribly. I think the real winner in this game is the over. I think both teams are going to be able to score in bunches. I don't really know what the over is, but I don't think it's going to be set enough, especially like on a teaser. If you can spot yourself a touchdown or something, I think that's just like one of my better bets of the week, and definitely going to be on my teaser card. Golly. Coming off of a bye week, I think that's just enough of an advantage for the Lions. I think if this was in the middle of the, of the season, I think I would take the Chargers here, especially
Chargers
at home.
Short week. Short week.
Golly, this is tough. Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions, but I'm not going to take it with as much confidence as you. I could definitely see the Chargers winning this game, and just seeing them, get hot in the middle of the season and then cooling off at the end, like the Chargers typically do. But yeah, I'll take the Lions. I think a bye week, everyone's healthy. I have a full week to game plan. The Chargers have a short week to game plan. All of those things just put this game in the favor of the Lions just enough for me.
Let's roll. Next, somehow the Atlanta Falcons are -2.5 heading to Arizona. The Atlanta Falcons shouldn't be favored to anyone after that deplorable, disgusting display of Matador defense that was played last week versus the Joshua Dobbs-led Minnesota Vikings. But somehow they are, and here we are. They finally benched Ritter, which we were begging for, and they did it. It's the absolute right call there. Taylor Heineke has looked better than Ritter. I mean, he hasn't looked great, but he's better than Ritter, and he's a backup. So that's all you need to know. So you're -2.5. I have a real problem with the Falcons right now, and the problem is Arthur Smith. That's my problem. Okay, next to that idiot that coaches the Chargers, this is the dumbest coach in the National Football League. Bro, why did you draft Bijan Robinson? Why did you draft Bijan Robinson? I just want an answer. Why are we camouflaging Tyler Algier and looking to make Bijan Robinson a decoy? You passed up on Jalen Carter for this guy. You should be using this guy like Priest Holmes, like Marshall Faulk, like LaDainian Tomlinson. Why? What is going on? I don't understand it. I just don't. God forbid I ever drafted this guy in fantasy, I would have burned my house down by now. What are you doing, Arthur Smith? Honestly, Arthur Smith should be fired. It's a fireable offense.
He's done. At the end of the season.
That owner needs to have a sit-down dinner with him like Mark Davis did with Josh McDaniels. We need to get clear. We're not on the same page because the best player on the field hardly touches the ball. So for me, that's number one. Okay, number two, they're just getting Drake London back. Yes, okay. Kyle Pitts, yes, okay. But you really don't throw the ball that much. I like what's going to happen here with Arizona because Kyler Murray's back. James Conner is back. Trey McBride is surging. You're getting healthy now. You can't tell me that Kyler Murray's not going to want to show that he's still a good player in this league. It's his first game back. Very tradable. I mean, like I said, in order to sell a product,
the Cardinals want. I think that's what the Cardinals want.
In order to sell a product, you have to showcase a product. That's why when you go to Costco, they're handing out all these goodies for you to taste because they want you to buy it. That's exactly what's happening here. This is Costco at State Farm Stadium tomorrow, okay? And I'm here to tell you that I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals here, man. I have no trust in the Atlanta Falcons after what I witnessed last week. That was a lay down of the highest order. I could see Heineke throwing an untimely pick. Let's not forget, a team worse than this team starting tomorrow beat the Dallas Cowboys handily in that building. Handily. And so for these reasons and these reasons only, I'm going to take those 2.5 and I'm going to roll, man. Home dogs pay dividends. Kyler Murray was never a bum. He just wasn't as great as everybody thought he was. And I just don't trust this backup-led Atlanta Falcon team led by an idiot coach. That's really what it boils down to. Arthur Smith is an idiot, and his excuses for not using Bijan Robinson are absolutely deplorable. They just are, man. Arizona is going to know the ball is going to Bijan now. They're going to force feed it to him, and they're going to be ready for him. I like the Cardinals in this game going away.
Yeah, and I just don't think they can play as bad as they did last week against the Browns. I think that's going to give them a little bit of
Clayton Tune was out there. They weren't right. They gave that. Right. They went into that game knowing we're going to lose this week. We're going to lick our wounds. We're going to get healthy, and then we're going to get Kyler. We're going to get Kyler. We're going to get JC back. Connor's back.
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah. I think that the Cardinals have silently been one of the better, well-coached teams in the league. Like, normally you look at a team that only has one win, you think, golly, they're getting ready to, get a new regime in. But yeah, they've really stuck into so many more games than they should have.
Done more with less.
Yeah, I think so. And I just think the Falcons, this is a game they should win. But Yeah, I just don't like what's going on in their organization right now. It just seems to be affecting everybody. It's like a virus that's making its way through the entire team, and yeah, that game last week against the Vikings is just not a great look. It's so weird that the Falcons are just hanging around at 4-5. It's such a random team, but I think Kyler Murray has a lot to prove, and I think that if Joshua Dobbs was able to have this much level of success with them, Kyler Murray for sure should be able to do something, especially against a middling team like the Falcons. So at home, it's going to be packed in there. Everyone's going to want to watch Kyler Murray. Mm-hmm. The crowd's going to be excited. I like the Cardinals here. I'm definitely taking them on a tease.
Me too. I like the Cardinals a lot this week, man. Kyler Murray is going to pack that they love him. It's sad because he's going to be gone, but they love him there.
Yeah.
And in that stadium, I've watched him play. They love Kyler Murray. And so it's going to be – if he plays scared, it's another thing. But if he goes balls to the wall like I think he's going to want to because they want to get rid of him and he wants out, I can't see Atlanta winning this game. Next, Washington Commanders fly across the United States to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks -6. We'll tell you going into the door, the Seahawks are going to destroy this team. After getting destroyed, teams that come home destroy bad teams. That is an NFL gospel. That's in the NFL Bible that is on Roger Goodell's nightstand. That script written. Sam Howell is not as good as people think he is. I'm sorry. He's a good fantasy quarterback. He's a good social media quarterback. You are not playing the Patriots this week. You are playing a team that got their shit pushed in by the Baltimore Ravens. You're playing a team that is supposed to be better than they are, and they know it. You're playing a team that has been banged up for weeks, and they are finally getting healthy. DK is back. Lockett is back. JSN is back. They will all play. KW2 will play. Watch out for Zach Charbonnet. I'm telling you, folks, Zach Charbonnet is a stud waiting to happen. If they give this ball the ball a little bit more or anything happens to Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet is a top 10 quarterback in this league. He can do it all. The problem I have with this team is Geno Smith. Geno needs to start playing like the Geno who was trying to get paid and not play like the Geno who got paid. If he does that, they should have no problem beating this team by 10 points. The back end of that secondary is absolute hot dog water. They are basura. So trash. They traded away their two best defenders. Young and Sweat are not there. There's no excuse here, Seattle. There is no excuse I will accept for not coming up big here. Fant, Disley, you guys have to get involved. Help these wideouts out. Help Geno out. Be there. Be the big body guy for the quick dump off throw when he turns into a freaking mannequin back there and gets scared to get hit. If you do this, Pete Carroll will style up enough schemes for that defense. I see Sam Howell getting picked at least twice in this game, and I see them running away with this game. 33-6 final. Seattle is better than this. You're better than this, but you're not in that next level yet. You're not a Ravens team. You're not a Chiefs team, but you're not scrubs. And the 12th man in their building should have no problem taking care of a team that just flew 3,000 miles to play in your den. Handle your business, or I might not take you again this season.
Yeah, there's no way, right, that they just don't come out firing on all cylinders. They've had so many, they start out well, and they have they just had some terrible, terrible performances.
They're due for a beatdown.
Yeah, and I always say this every week, and the Commanders just always seem to play well when I put them down, but I just, they are such a bad football team, I just do not like their overall roster. I know they have talent at some places, and I guess it's enough to put them to 4-5, but man, if the Seahawks cannot blow out a team like the Commanders, I may never take the Seahawks ever again.
This is what I'm saying, dude. Pete Carroll,
they have to.
This is it, Pete Carroll. You know what I mean? You're hearing it from both of us, and not just me. Normally it's me. You're hearing it from both of us. You guys better get it together, man, or I will you could kiss playoffs goodbye, playoff wins goodbye if you can't beat the Commanders by 20 in your building. Next. I don't even know why we're even going to talk about this game, but we are. Dallas Cowboys are -17 versus the New York Football Giants. Largest spread in the NFL in a couple of years. I think they cover the 17. I do. And you got Tommy DeVito, Danny DeVito. I don't even know who's back there starting for the Giants. I mean, the only thing the Giants have is Saquon Barkley, and they're going to get him killed because they're going to give him 50 touches versus a hungry, fat kid, dying, wild stallion, boar, just Braveheart defense. They are going to destroy the Giants in this game. I will be absolutely shocked if the Giants stay in this game. I really will be, because how are they going to do it? The offensive line stinks. Your quarterback stinks. You can't run the ball. You can't stop the run. Who are you throwing to? Daniel Bellinger? I mean, Darren Waller is an absolute bum. You called it. That guy stinks, man. That guy was never good. He had a flash in the pan. The best ability is availability, and that guy's he's always hurt, man. My grandma's healthier than Darren Waller. So, I mean, like, 17 is a ton of points. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, the odds makers are dying for you to bet the Giants plus the points. The Giants can get a special teams touchdown. They could stay in it. You know what this is going to be, folks? I'm telling you right now, and I'm saying it with my chest. This is the Tony Pollard game. Tony Pollard ain't been right all season. This is the perfect spot for Tony Pollard to get healthy. My man just traded for Tony Pollard, and I laughed because what he gave up was too much in my estimation, but I could see it because the schedule softens up here. They should run wild. Tony Pollard should have 160 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. The only thing that the Giants have going for them is Kayvon Thibodeau and Saquon Barkley. 2 guys on the road can't cover 17 points. This Tommy DeVito guy, he's a turnover machine waiting to happen. I'm sorry. In Jerry's world, the stage is just going to be too big for this kid. I mean, where did this guy play last week? Cimarron High School? I mean, come on. Let's be honest. We have to get straight with this, okay? When we're thinking about dollars and cents and handicapping in the National Football League, the one thing that you cannot be afraid to do is lay points. I just don't see a way out for the Giants here. And quite frankly, I don't see why the Giants would want to win this game. You are to the point where it's very obvious that giving Daniel Jones that contract was one of the worst mistakes in your franchise's history, and you may just have to eat it, a la Josh McDaniels and the Raiders. You may just have to continue to pay guys to not play for you. You know what I mean? It happens all the time in the NFL. There are guys coaching in college right now getting paid from NFL franchises. You may just have to lose out. Now, I'm not saying that there's somebody better than Daniel Jones waiting in the wings in college, but, I mean, you're strapped here. Because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But I'm taking that 17 and I'm cashing that in right away because the Giants are absolute frauds. They're horrible. And I can't see a way that they stay in with CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, Jake Ferguson. You know, even Dackle's going to play a really strong game here. I mean, Brandon Cooks might have a day here. Mike McCarthy's a better coach than freaking Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll, they overachieved so badly last year in New York that everyone was galvanized and got gassed. But that was a true okie doke. It really was. And you guys fell for it and you paid everybody. And I can't wait for Saquon Barkley to be on the Chiefs next year. I really can't, because he's out of there. You guys lowballed him, which is an absolute disgrace. He's showcasing his talents and he's going to run into a brick wall tomorrow. Dallas in an absolute rout. If Dallas can rout the Rams at home, what do you think they're going to do to the Giants? Stop it. Lay those 17 with confidence with your chest and eat a steak dinner.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders beat them by 24 points last week. So what is Dallas going to do? I just, Tommy DeVito, he still lives with his parents, right?
Jesus. Guy lives in his mom's basement.
He does. He actually does. I just saw a report about that. I can't believe he's coming from his mom's house to the stadium on Sunday. I mean, this is the starting quarterback for the New York Giants. It's just unbelievable. So.
I'm deceased. Oh my God, I'm gonna have a coronary right now.
Dude, come on! You got to suit up with this guy. You got to listen to him in the huddle. There's no shot, man.
His mom's making him breakfast.
You can't, and she is too because it's his mom, of course. I stay with my parents. My mom's gonna make me breakfast in the morning. I mean, how do you just? I don't know, man. These guys are grown men. They come to fight a battle. It's a gladiator sport, and it's so over. I mean, it's gonna be a long, long season for Giants fans. I have felt the sting of what the Giants are going through many, many years in my life, and I'm glad I haven't had a season that bad in a while, because it's just unbearable, because you look forward to football season all year. No matter what your roster is, you can convince yourself of anything. And I've convinced myself of a lot of Raiders teams that are terrible. But once you're in there, and especially when you're in the mid part of the season, 2-7, I mean, if you're 500, it sucks, but at least every other week, you're getting a win. It feels good. You can watch the highlights. I mean, it's just not much to watch for the Giants. It's so bad. I mean, they just got demolished last week. I mean, the Raiders were, invigorated. They had a lot going into the game, so it's just almost all hard. But you don't see anything. I mean, they cannot throw the ball. This kid. I mean, how are you this under? Well, I don't know. You lose your top 1 and 2. Matt Barkley's going to play in this game. Probably going into the second quarter. I think they elevated him from the practice squad as the backup for this game, and he's better than Tommy Tito. I'll tell you that right now. So I'm surprised that they didn't just take Matt Barkley and throw him in there and just be like, look, we can't play this DeVito kid anymore. But it looks like they're sticking with them. And yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys. The points can't be close enough. Even if it was 20, I think I'd take the Cowboys.
And you know what? And if the Giants find a way to cover this game, I'll take my hat off to them. I'll just chalk it up as an L. I'm no stranger to holding an L. I do a freaking show that handicaps football with you. So it is what it is, but I highly doubt it. I give them a 5% chance of covering, and I give them a 1% chance of winning. Next.
Any given Sunday,
there's your 1%. The Jets fly across the country to take on the Raiders, who looked pretty good versus a hot dog water team. I can't get that very excited about that win. I mean, we just talked about why, so I'm not going to waste any more time on it. But what I want to talk about is how I sat here last week and said it with my chest, how my Jets were going to show up. How you were going to get the Jets that played the Chiefs. You were going to get the Jets that played the Eagles, to take on a fraudulent Charger team, and you laid down like bitches. Okay, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about how you let them walk up in your house, open your fridge, and make sandwiches. It's an absolute disgrace, New York. It really is. And look, I've been thinking about this a lot this week because I want the flow. I'm from New York, and, I got a lot of Jet fans and a lot of friends coming in for this game, but your offensive line stinks. It stinks. I know Zach Wilson stinks. I know he stinks, but your offensive line stinks just as bad. So that's number one. You have to move on from Zach Wilson after this year. I don't even know if I would start him again this year. He's shown flashes. Being shown flashes is not enough to be a starting NFL quarterback. He's a boy. He's not a man. I can't even say that they don't put him in positions to win because he's just not capable to do the things that they need him to do. Aaron Rodgers could do the things that they need him to do at 40 years old. Zach Wilson at 24 cannot do these things. I know every dog has their day. I don't know. I want the guy who played versus Kansas City. Where's that guy? That guy looked like Joe Namath, but it just doesn't exist, and I can't trust that. A bad offensive line and a coach that knows it, and a franchise that knows it and just won't admit it. And so I'm taking the Raiders here to beat both New York teams. It's going to be very close. I'm kind of scared to take the Raiders because Colton Miller, who is your best offensive tackle, is going to be out. Marcus Peters is highly questionable. Will it be enough on motivation from, your coach to get you fired up? I mean, last weekend, you guys are smoking cigarettes and blunts and cigars like you won the Super Bowl. And I kind of get it because it was more about getting Josh McDaniels out and being able to turn the page and be the Raiders, not be the Patriot Raiders. So I get that. I understand you're feeling good. You're galvanized. Like, that's just what the doctor ordered, was that New York team. Now, here comes another kind of hot dog water New York team. Does it happen again? I mean, my question is when are you going to get You can't get Devontae Adams the ball. You know what I mean? And the Jets' defense is really, really good. Your kicker hasn't been the same this year. I mean, it's going to be the Josh Jacobs show, but what if they shut him down? What's Aiden O'Connell going to do? You can't get one of the best 50 wide receivers in the history of the NFL, the football. I mean, they're going to triple team Devontae. I mean, your only hope at winning this game is Jacoby Myers, and I'm willing to hold that hope on him. The Raiders are minus a point. They just have to win the game in their building versus a team that stunk on Monday night on a short week with all kinds of problems flying across the country. I cannot not take them. after the Jets laid down for me, and I said it with my chest. So you Jet fans, enjoy Las Vegas because that's what you're going to get. You are not winning this game, so go play some slots and lose some more money to my city and then get the hell out.
Oh, yeah. I like the whole cigar smoking thing. I mean, the Raiders are supposed to be outlaws and bandits, and they're supposed to piss people off, and they did. And I like it. Like, I think that's what makes the team unique.
That's who the Raiders are, man. They're who they are.
They're not
choir boys.
Professional. Yeah, exactly. They're not like a super professional football team, right? They are like, we're nasty, we're gross, we're gonna, punch you in the mouth, and I think that's what that was all about. And I like that people got mad about the cigar smoking thing, which is, I think, silly to get mad at in the first place. But
it's just
even
weird.
better,
it's just a weird flex, but I understand it. At first, I didn't understand it until I read into it. It was about Josh McDaniels. I thought they were celebrating the W. It's about Josh McDaniels, so I get it now.
They want to bring back the Raider way, something that has just been lost for so long now. And, no more Patriot way. And just even before Josh McDaniels, the team just, I don't know, they didn't look like the Raiders. They had the emblem on their helmet, but I like the direction they're going in. It is weird because it's just so, I don't know, man, the coaching staff just got gutted, obviously. So a new offensive coordinator has never been one before. I like what they were doing, and I know Devontae Adams isn't getting the ball, but if you really think about it, there's a lot of top-end talent on this team that you would say, get this guy the ball. And
get Michael Mayer involved. What'd you draft this guy for?
Well, he's had a few good games. I think everyone's playing a little bit better. Hunter Renfrow had 2 great catches in that game. So, I look at it in its entirety. The Raiders scored 30 points, and I was thinking that same thing too. Like, they didn't look as great in the second half offensively, but then I'm thinking, does it really matter if you score the bulk of your points in the first half or the second half? 30 points is a lot of points in the National Football League, so it doesn't really matter to me, whether or not they score the bulk of their points in the first quarter or the second. You get to 30 points, you got to be happy about that performance. This is going to be a tough matchup. It's not, obviously, the Jets are much better than the Giants, so it's not just going to be, I think, a quick blowout, but now it's going to come down to the defensive fronts on both sides and who plays better under pressure. I'll give the edge to Aiden O'Connell. I mean, the kid, has just looked pretty decent at every, point in the season. Bad fumbles in that Chargers game, obviously, but, he looked pretty darn polished in that one. Mm-hmm. And I like the way that they were moving the ball around. They were doing some more zone runs. And on the other end, Tyree Wilson has had his best football games the last 3 weeks in a row. And I think that's exactly what you're looking for. This kid didn't get a preseason. He was hurt all camp. And he's starting to get into his own. And I think that if he can just keep using his power rushing moves against a really bad Jets team, I think you can start putting a little bit pressure off of Max Crosby, or at least take advantage of, all the attention that he's getting. The offensive line is playing, or the defensive line in the middle is playing a bit better because, as soon as Josh McDaniels was gone, Nesta, this guy named Nesta, I really like him. He's a defensive tackle. I think he's been our best for a really long time, and they just kept putting him on the inactive list. He's been playing a lot more. All these things, I think, are just going to be enough. And this is going to be a short game, but I just don't really trust Zach Wilson. And I think the Raiders' defense is playing really well before and after Josh McDaniels. This isn't just a reinvigorated Raiders defense. They've been playing top 15 the entire year pretty much. So with that being said, I'm going to take the Raiders. But every time I do this, it seems like they have their worst loss of the season. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. This is a coin flip. I'm taking the home team that's feeling good about themselves. Max Crosby, again, will be the best player on the field tomorrow, and I don't think it will be close. I love Max Crosby, and I know I shouldn't as a Chiefs fan, but I'm an NFL fan first. That guy could play on my team any day of the week. I would pay him whatever he wants. He's played every defensive snap in every single game. Dude, he's DPOY, man, on a bad team. What does that tell you? Double teams don't matter to Max Crosby, and it's not going to matter tomorrow either.
Triple teams sometimes don't either, man. He's the
big facts. Sometimes the whole defense is on him. It don't matter. Big facts. The Condor is going to do his thing versus the Jets. You watch. Next, Monday Night Football. The Denver Broncos, they fly to Buffalo to take on the fraudulent bipolar Buffalo Bills. Bills are -7. I'm going to tell you going in the door, I'm taking Denver here.
Really?
You can call me crazy. I give no shits. I'm completely fine with it, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I watched a New York Giant team get hosed out of a win with a backup quarterback versus this same Buffalo team. That's number one. Number two, Leonard Fournette ain't saving anybody, okay? Leonard Fournette was at In-N-Out Burger. Leonard Fournette is there because the corpse of Latavius Murray is about to die. James Cook is a waste of a running back. He'll be off the team here shortly. That team does not run the ball, okay? So now everything is on Josh Allen. When Josh Allen has to throw the ball to win that many times, he turns the ball over. Now, Denver beat Kansas City in a galvanizing win. That was a franchise-determining stop of a long, long streak. Like, they threw a parade after beating Kansas City. I mean, 16 straight losses. I mean, you're fired up now. I think Denver is going to be the tale of two halves. The first half, which was absolutely putrid but got a little bit better, and then the second half where they're going to win some games that people don't expect them to win. And I'm going to tell you why. Javonte Williams is coming into his own, finally. Maybe the ACL tear wasn't 100% right, man, but we're warm here now. You know, we're 10 games in, man. He's 10 toes down. You're seeing the snaps go up. Jaleel McLaughlin is no longer a thing. Look, they didn't trade their wideouts. Why not? There's tons of teams that could use Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton in the Panthers uniform? You can't tell me why wouldn't they trade those guys? Why? Because there's hope and promise in Denver. That's why. And I think that these guys can play. Jerry Jeudy gets a lot of hate, but he can play, man. If you put him in situations to play, he can play. So can Courtland Sutton. And so can Russ. Guys, Russ has the same numbers of Patrick Mahomes. Go look. You go look. You cannot believe it if you want to. Go look. I look at numbers. I look at film. I know football. I see a game here where they can control the clock versus a very bad run D. The Buffalo Bills defense is overrated. They're overrated. Who are their stars? Micah Hyde hasn't done nothing in years. Jordan Poyer, these guys are just names. Von Miller is about to die. They're not good. They give up a lot of points on the ground. They give up a lot of points, period. And anytime they're supposed to destroy a team not named Washington, they don't. They don't. Guys, let's not forget this. Denver's defense last year was not bad. Denver's defense started out really slow. Even in their losses, they only gave up 17 points to Kansas City in Kansas City. Justin Simmons is a baller. Patrick Surtain is a baller. They're not going to get blown out in this game versus a team that has to throw to win. Now, I know Stephon Diggs is God, but he's gimpy, may not even play. What happens then? Dalton Kincaid has to win the game for you as a rookie tight end? Stop it. All of you are going to want to throw the money on the Bills because they're the Bills at home. And can we stop talking about DeMar Hamlin? Please, can we stop milking a guy almost dying for recognition? Enough already. I love Denver here. And if I have a good week, I'm laying it all on Denver because all of you are going to lay it on Buffalo. What you don't understand, if that team can beat a Kansas City team that's the Super Bowl champs, who can't they beat? They still have Sean Payton, who is a bonehead sometimes, but he has a Super Bowl ring to his resume. The coaching pedigree is not terrible. Some people's hands you have to hold a little longer, and I really think that's the Denver Broncos this year. Guys, they're not as bad as you think. Yes, they lost to the Raiders. Week one. The key here is Javonte Williams. A team that can't get on the field can't score. If they can control clock and run the ball, I guarantee you they cover this 7. And I think that's what's going to happen. And I'm saying that with my chest, too. I like a lot of things this week. I like the Denver Broncos. I love the Lions. I love Tennessee going in, getting that 1.5. And I love the under in Pittsburgh. You take all of those, you roll those up, light that shit, and smoke it. The Black Italian has spoken.
I don't know. Every time the Bills have a bad loss and you get down on them, they put their best performance of the season together. They're at home. I don't know. I think there's going to be a ton of money on the Broncos this week.
Who's running the ball?
I don't think it matters. I think Josh Allen's going to have the best game of the season tomorrow or on Monday, I should say. And I think the Bills win by a bunch of points. I just think that everything points towards the Broncos, and that's when the Bills play their best games. I mean, they are a bipolar team, and I think this is their time to have their best performance, and I there's going to be a ton of action on the Broncos, and I think that's why I'm putting it on the Bills.
I don't trust the Bills anywhere. And I definitely don't even trust them in their own building, where they have proven to me time and time again, ever since the snow game in the playoffs in Cincinnati, that they choke. Let's be honest, man. Let's be honest. There are 2 calls that went against teams that they were playing this year that if those are called, those are losses. What's the Bills' record right now? Dude, the Bills could have 3 wins right now. Stop it, man. You guys are capping out there if you think this Bills team has any shot of going to the Super Bowl. They don't. That Super Bowl window is beyond closed, and every single week there's another nail that goes into it, and it ain't never opening again until Josh Allen is off this team. I like Josh Allen. He's a good quarterback, but he is a turnover machine. And if you cannot run the ball in this league, you cannot win. Parting shots.
Should be a good week. I think there's some really good matchups. It'll be a fun Sunday. I'm probably going to go down to my parents' house, watch the game with my dad, and I think that's what football's really all about in the end.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. It brings people together, and I love it. My parting shots are going to be for the Carolina Panthers. I always kind of allude to it and touch on it every show, but we need to discuss this, because that's what we do. We break stuff down and we discuss what's happening. They're really in big trouble with Bryce Young. They really are, and it makes me sad. Because he's a good kid. He's a good kid, man. He's good pedigree. He had a really great college career. I watched that game on Thursday versus a bad Bears secondary. He can't get anything going, man. Now, is it his fault? Is it the coach's fault? Is it the offensive line's fault? There's enough blame to go around in Carolina. There definitely is. I just don't think he's that good. And I think the kid's under more pressure than is being deserved when you're watching what C.J. Stroud is doing. I mean, Bryce Young is sitting on his toilet at 4 a.m. looking at C.J. Stroud highlights, wondering what happened. Like, that's supposed to be me.
Yeah.
I mean, they have guys on that team they don't even use. I mean, Hayden.
I don't like their staff. I don't like anything about Carolina.
Me personally, they are
boring.
beyond. They're the most vanilla team in the National Football League.
They are.
And even with a chance to get the W on Thursday night when he absolutely had to have it, he just couldn't do it, man. Look, just because you're a winner in college doesn't mean you're going to win in the NFL. He's too small. He reminds me of Kyler Murray. You had to bulk up for your pro day. You're lying about this just to look good. And I think the whole world told you that's who you needed to pick. And so that's who they picked. And I think they walked that back in a heartbeat. They're standing up and saying, yeah, we took the right guy. This is our quarterback. It's who we love. I mean, I think that's a bunch of baloney personally. I mean, he looks horrible. I mean, you got outplayed by Tyson Bagent, bro. I mean, no one knew who Tyson Bagent was this year. That's really bad, man. Prayers up for Bryce Young and that offense. I hope it gets better, but as a guy who's been watching football since I was 4, I don't see it happening, and I see C.J. Stroud running away with Rookie of the Year. Boy, they fumbled the bag really badly. World of matchups for Week 10. That's it, guys. That's the slate. Hope you guys enjoy all the games. We'll try to do a little bit better for you. I think I like where we're going this week. We agree on a lot more, and there's a lot more gimmies, I think. But we'll see, man. This is the NFL, and anything can happen. You guys enjoy the games. We'll be back for Week 11, and we're out.